In the last couple of videos, I brought you along as I ventured outside of the Amazon FBA ecosystem and started my own e-commerce store on Shopify. This is something that I've been meaning to do for a while, mainly because I was curious and kept wondering if, by not doing it, maybe I was leaving some money on the table. If you are curious and want to know how I went about setting the whole thing up to launch, then watch this video. And if you want to know how it went after launch, then watch this one. Or watch part 1 and then part 2. That's the best thing you can do. I've been selling on Amazon for a while now, and therefore have gotten the opportunity to really feel the weight of the Amazon fees on my P&L. They add up, let me tell you. So I couldn't help but wonder if perhaps, besides missing on some critical market and leaving money on the table, I was missing out on the cheapest way to do e-commerce. Today I'm telling you everything I learned while doing this experience and which of the channels is the kindest one to your profit margin, or in other words, in which channel it is the cheapest to sell on. It is only really fair to draw a conclusion between the two if we look at a specific scenario. To be very clear, I will be comparing selling on Amazon and Shopify and the effects on your profit margin, assuming, number one, that you are dealing with physical products that you import into your location, so not drop shipping, that's a totally different business and not something that we are talking about here. Number two, assuming a product that retails for 20 euros or $20 that ships in a 35 per 25 per 10 centimeters package and weighs 1 kilogram. For reference, I will be looking at shipping prices to and from Germany because that's my main experience, and also in any way it allows us to draw the conclusions that we are looking to draw. So let's get started. So for a seller, the monthly costs of the platform are kind of an insignificant cost since it amounts to such a small percentage of the revenue that you will be making by selling on the platform. Nevertheless, I think it's worth it to share. Starting out with Amazon, the professional plan costs right below 40 euros or $40 plus VAT per month. Shopify has different pricing tiers depending on the features you need, but it starts at $29 a month. Okay, so now with that out of the way, let's get into the main portion of this video and what each of the channels does to your unit profit margin. If you have a private label business, the costs that go into the selling of each item tend to look something like this. You have your upfront investment section, which includes the cost of acquiring your goods from your supplier, shipping it halfway through the world or country, and import duties when applicable. This part of the cost structure looks the same regardless of your distribution channel. Even if you run an offline shop, it would look something like this, I guess. I've never done it, but I guess so. The second leg of the cost structure differs depending on where you sell your goods and how you fulfill your orders. If you sell on Amazon and use FBA to fulfill orders, if you sell on Shopify and use FBA to fulfill orders, or if you sell on Shopify and fulfill by yourself. I choose to compare this third method since I understand it is a very intuitive and common approach for new or smaller online sellers. There are obviously infinite ways that you can choose to fulfill your orders and also infinite places in which you can sell your goods at, but to keep it simple, I will be comparing these three. I will now guide you through the fee structure of each of these methods, assuming we are selling a 20 euro or dollar product that has the dimensions and weight that I specified earlier in the video. Starting with number one, selling on Amazon and using the FBA program to fulfill. The first thing that needs to happen is that you need to get your goods to the Amazon warehouse. So you ship a carton of, let's say, 150 units to the Amazon FBA fulfillment center, and that costs you 10 euros, so around 7 cents per unit. Once the goods are in place in the fulfillment center, you sell your first unit on Amazon. Congratulations! So you will pay 15% to Amazon as a referral fee because you sold through the Amazon platform to Amazon traffic, so 3 euros. You also pay them for the actual fulfillment of the product according to the size and weight of the package. And assuming this was a sale on Amazon.de to a customer sitting in Germany, this costs you 3.72 euros at the time of recording. Then you have to discount the VAT, that is money that you collect but need to pass on to the state. In my case here in Germany, it is 19% at the moment, so 3.8 euros. And finally, you need to think about advertising costs. I particularly do not like very competitive products, so I like to launch using PPC, yes, in order to really jumpstart the listing, get it to page 1, get some reviews going, but I like to be able to lay off the advertising costs as I get a little bit of a reputation going on. Because the products I invest in are not too competitive, I tend to be able to sell a unit by spending 10 to 15% of its retail value in the first few months. After that, I don't need to spend so much money anymore, but let's say then 2 to 3 euros. This all adds up to a unit cost of sale of up to 13.59 €, which, yeah, like I said, costs do add up. From my personal experience, that 19% of VAT really does make a difference on your profitability, and especially when you first start out, you can really use that extra money. So I would recommend you to consult with a tax advisor in your region to see if there is any regulation that you can take advantage of as you're starting out that will allow you to keep that money for yourself and not have to pay VAT as you begin. In Germany, for example, I did take advantage of the Kleinunternehmen or small business rule for as long as I could, and that meant that I could keep that 19% for myself until I reached a certain level of revenue and profit in my business. For me, that was money and cash flow that I could use. Moving on to number 2, selling on Shopify and using the FBA program to fulfill. Again, the first thing that needs to happen is that you need to get your goods to the Amazon warehouse. Assuming the same as before, that costs you 7 cents per unit. Once you sell a unit, because you didn't sell it via Amazon, you don't have to pay the 15% referral fee, but instead you pay transaction fees. In general, and assuming that you have the basic plan, if you use Shopify payments, you pay 2.9% plus 30 cents out of each transaction. And if you use an external payment provider, you pay 2% of the transaction amount. So let's say between 40 and 88 cents. Because you use FBA, you pay Amazon for the fulfillment of the product, so the same 3.72 €, and followed by the 19% German VAT, amounting to 3.8 euros. And then you have the advertising costs. And this is where things can go a little bit crazy in my personal experience. If you are a new seller, ideally you want to spend the least as possible in marketing, because that is money you can use to keep in your business, to get more products and to scale, to take things to a next level. The reality is that as a new seller outside of Amazon, you will probably have to invest a significant amount of money in order to really realize and learn and figure out the most efficient way, or how it is that you can sell your goods in an efficient way. If any of this is confusing, then please watch this video in which I explain you and I tell you exactly what I mean when it comes to starting with advertising expenditures for your e-commerce store. This should make it clearer. For the purpose of the simulation, I researched just how much is the average cost per sale that the different channels get you. The link is down below for source. And then I made them 100% higher because reality of a new seller. Actually, I really do believe that this is a conservative estimate, at least in the first months. I think you should be looking more at like 200% of the average amount, 300% of the average amount, if not more. But let's say like over time, maybe you can get 100% extra of the average amount, but let's keep it like this just for the purpose of this video. So overall, you may expect to spend between €2.28 and €4.56 on ads to sell one unit, accounting for a total unit cost of sale between $10.27 and $13.03. After seeing this, you're probably thinking, oh wait, then selling on Shopify really is cheaper. Well, it may be at some point, especially if you have a famous and well-known brand going on at your business. But for sure, not when you first start out. Shopify will rely heavily and pretty much forever on your wallet in order to drive traffic to your website. Granted, after months of testing, you will probably be able to drive the unit cost of sale lower, so the advertising amount that you spend to sell each sale to a lower amount. But before that happens, you are most likely looking at months of ad spend with just a few transactions in return. So in short, you do need to have deep pockets. On Amazon, on the other hand, after a while, even with PPC active, not all sales come from PPC, meaning some of them are organic and you pay no money on ads for them. And if you rank high enough and you are in a non-competitive landscape, it may even happen that you stop needing advertising to sell. So you save quite a lot on your margin. The last method I want to cover is number 3, to sell on Shopify and fulfilling by yourself. This is a little bit of a more intuitive and artisanal method that I have the feeling and I know that a lot of new sellers start out with. In this case, then you most likely have stock in your basement, in your living room, or in somewhere where you can reach and handle it yourself. With each sale on Shopify, you only pay transaction fees between 40 and 88 cents. Then you need to purchase a shipping label before dropping off the parcel in the post office. Assuming you use DHL, this label would cost you €3.79. So not that much more than shipping with Amazon FBA, but in this case, you need to take care of the shipping process yourself. After that comes 19% German VAT amounting for €3.8, and finally the same advertising expenditures as before, between €2.28 and €4.56 on ads to sell 1 unit, accounting for a total unit cost of sale of again between $10.27 and $13.03. So on to my final thoughts, and these might sound a little bit biased, but the reality is that my main experience and also my most successful experience so far has been with Amazon FBA, and I can definitely attest for how easy it can be to start selling your first unit and to start making your first profit using Amazon FBA without too much of an ad spend. I also experienced firsthand just how challenging it can be to launch your own sales channel without a brand, without any hype around the brand that you have. So therefore, I just want to give you a word of caution. If you plan on taking this route, just prepare to go on a wild ride, basically. However, I understand that we all have different paths and different goals, and therefore here is my mostly impartial opinion on the Shopify versus Amazon debate. Some of Amazon FBA's pros are that, number one, it delivers to you a constant stream of willing to purchase customers. Essentially, people are on Amazon to purchase something after all. And number two, it is quite easy to get selling, go to market and start making money as long as you choose the right product in the right market. Finally, number three, you can save a lot on the advertising costs since you need low or no investment, again, depending on your product and market. Amazon's cons are, number one, its high referral fees when you compare to Shopify's 2% transaction fees, for example. And number two, the product you choose and its competitive landscape can make or break your margin. On Amazon, even if you choose poorly, you can still get it to sell out at some point, from my experience. On Shopify, this can be a bigger headache. Shopify's pros, on the other hand, are, number one, that you own your store fully. No one can touch it, unlike selling on Amazon, in which your business is on the hands of another party. This is something to consider, in my opinion. And number two, the low fees when comparing to Amazon's 15% referral fee. Shopify's cons are that, number one, you need to invest heavily on advertising, and number two, I would say you need to go as far as thinking long-term and really invest in building a brand. So over time, people can come to your website without you having to pay for each click. This is amazing, but again, a different business altogether, and also something that you need time in order to build and not something that you can rely on from day one. For new sellers, I would always advise starting with Amazon FBA, just because it is so much easier to go to market and to start selling. Besides that, tons of people have mastered this business model, and therefore you can be sure that it is possible also for you. And if you are serious about starting out, then I would always advise you to invest in a course or some sort of training to get you going and give you that security and that knowledge that you need. And since we're talking about it, I would highly recommend Marketplace Superheroes. It is the last course I took, and it is very complete and also very affordable. So yeah, just click the first link in my description so you can learn more about the course and also access their free webinar. Thank you so much for watching. As always, please do not forget to like this video, comment and subscribe to the channel. The second link in my description is for you to access my freebie, in which you can get some free extra content on Amazon FBA to help you start out with your business in an easier way. Again, thank you so much for watching. Trust me, the next one is really good, so you will want to stay subscribed. Thank you, bye.